Hi everyone, it's me, Laqwanda, and welcome to Laqwanda's Heart, and welcome to the Livestream Wellness Series. I am super excited to have another guest for you. If you're new to the web series, every Thursday I have a special guest to join us that talks about a different aspect of wellness, and that's why it's called the Livestream Wellness Series. And this week we are having Miss Tracy Moore, the founder of My Sisters Community, with us. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, Laqwanda. Thank you
How are
so
you
much.
doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm really excited to be doing this.
I'm so glad that you were able to join us. When I came across you on Instagram, I immediately felt like, you know what, this is someone that I want to bring in and have discuss, her personal journey, the things that she's been working on,
Mhm.
and the work that you started to do. So, just to kick things right off, can you tell us about yourself? Who is Tracy Moore?
Wow. Okay. So I am Tracy. I am the founder of My Sisters Community. So even before all that, I am a wife, a mother, I'm a daughter, a friend, an advocate of mental health. I'm just me. Those are just small parts of me, but those are seem to be the most impactful. So that's me in a nutshell. I will also say I'm can be an experience as well. So I like to throw that in here.
I like the fact that you said you can be an experience. I think we all can, for
Yes.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think? And I know people are coming in. There's an ad that's playing, so
Okay.
we most definitely will wait. But what do you think? When I asked you, I said, "What do you think your topic is going to be?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that you want to talk about when it comes to wellness?" You said, I want to talk about my story and my journey. Why do you feel like it's important for you at this point in your life to share your story and your journey?
Well, I think it is. Well, I know for a fact it is becoming harder for me to really actually manage my mental health, to be honest. um it really hit home probably almost, actually it's been 2 months since my father passed, and with the start of the grieving process, in addition to that, everything else that I never addressed just like hit me at the same time as well. um and really I'm literally tired. I'm tired of the anxiousness. I'm tired of the mood swings. It's not really anything deeper than that. Um, I really wanted to share my experiences and what I'm going through because I know I'm not the only one. There's no way I can be the only person with these feelings and with this brokenness. And also, I am ready to see our community, especially women of color, because that's what I am. It's time for us to start the healing process. Another reason why I wanted to share this is because I have 3 kids, but two of them are girls, my older two, and I don't want them to have the same experiences as far as mental health is concerned that I'm having. I feel like for their whole well-being, it starts with me. Just as even with my mom suffers from mental illness. She had an incident actually happen some years ago, and that kind of jump started things for her. And either unfortunately or fortunately, I did witness her go through a breakdown, and it was kind of scary in a sense, but it also was like, oh my gosh, I like I don't know what's wrong with my mom, but something is really up. So I don't feel like we've really had, we've had conversations, but not a very deep conversation, at least that I would like, around what happened then. But we do talk about it. I don't want to make it seem like, it's not anything we talk about, but we definitely do talk about that. And just to let other women of color, women, men, whoever really, know that we have to talk about these things to tap into the resources that are available, and even um to fight for even more resources, to get the help that we need. So that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, I want to take a moment to shout out everyone who is joining in. Hey D, hey Tarshell Beach. Tarshell was our last week's
Yes.
guest. Hey Tarshell, thanks for joining in with us. If you guys have a comment or question for myself or Tracy, just put it in the chat and we will answer it. One thing I think, listening to you, it seems as if you had came to that moment, where you felt like I need to say something. And I can so relate to that because I remember after my first hospitalization and after losing everything. When I tell people that I lost everything, they really don't understand. But I say I lost the ability to work. I lost the ability to live by myself. I lost the ability to take care of my child.
Yeah.
I was having to live with my siblings at the age of 30 because I could not care for myself. And I remember being in a moment, and it was actually 3 a.m. in the morning.
Wow.
And I said, I have to get this out of me. And I set up, it was the first time I set up a camera, and I started just talking about everything that happened, every emotion that I was feeling, and I was getting all of that out. And it was my very first mental health series. And I called it My Story, My Way, because I felt like any other way I was trying to tell it, or if I was trying to write under another organization, that it was not authentically myself. And so I poured all that out. And so when I heard you say you reached that moment, I remember that moment for myself where I had to get it out. And that was a point of a turning point for me, because I also began to acknowledge what I was feeling, acknowledge what I was going through, and then realizing that, hey, other people are going through this and dealing with this as well. And so it's like I was like, I can't be the only person. I said so, and so it became a moment for me where it was like, if I can't find that person, I'm about to be that person for somebody. And so I threw it all. I threw it all out there.
Yeah.
And so I commend you when you say that, because I remember being in that moment myself so many years ago when you said to say, what, this is it. And also another critical point that you mentioned in discussing it with your children, and wanting to break that cycle of silence, and wanting to break that cycle of shame, and that mystery behind what happens when you're sick.
Exactly.
And from your mental health conditions, because we'll openly tell people what's going on with us when we're ill from our physical health conditions. But when it's our mental health conditions, that's when we get silent and we get small and our voices aren't as loud.
Absolutely.
But they should be just as loud and just as echoed. And so I commend you for taking that stand and understanding that, for your daughters, not only are you taking charge of your mental health, but you're also speaking about it in a way where your daughters won't perceive it as being something shameful later on. And to be honest, my daughter's laying right here next to So she's hearing all this stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. And with my kids, so my kids are young. My son is 5. Our middle one just turned 7, and then our oldest is 10. So they have seen my vulnerability. And they this is actually part of another question that you had asked me also, and we can touch upon this a little later. But they have actually been a part of my support system because um they see me in my emotional moment, and I've gotten to a point where I'm comfortable with saying, all right, mommy was having this moment for whatever reason because mommy was feeling this way. This doesn't have anything to do with you, and I apologize for however I made you feel, but this is what's going on. And we we're good from there. So um yeah, they and as they get older, it'll become easier for them to understand just because they're going to be older. But they see my vulnerability. What's interesting is that my husband mentioned something, I think last week, about um how mental illness or just mental health period not only affects the individual, but it affects the family. It has an effect on him. It has an effect on the kids. It has an effect on my mom as well, and even um, some of my close relationships, to friends and stuff. So it affects everybody, not just that person. So
And I think when you speak about that from that perspective, that it goes back again to having those conversations. For the longest, when my daughter had to live with her father, what I told her was that mommy had to go to a special hospital for sad people.
yeah.
And she was 4 when she went to stay, went to live with her father. And so that's what I told her. I said, mommy had to go to a special hospital for sad people.
Yeah.
And now she's 13. She's a teenager. If I have to go, I think the last time I told her I went to the hospital. She was like, okay, that's fine.
Back.
It's not that shocking thing. I think one time she was shocked when I had put my mood magnet on depressed, and she went in the kitchen and she saw it, and she was like, "You're depressed?" And she was like, and I was like, "Yeah, remember mommy has bipolar disorder, so that happens sometimes." And she was like, "Oh yeah, that's right." And
Right.
so it became a normal part of the conversation, and that carries on to when they get older. And
Mm-hmm.
it was one thing in particular that I was very proud of her about, is that she was, I believe it was this week, she was feeling stressed at school, and she was crying, and she went and saw the school counselor.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she went and saw the school counselor
That's
and talked
great.
about what she needed to talk about, to get herself together. So it's about planting those seeds. So when before they reach that point of crisis,
Exactly.
they're able to reach out and get the support that they need. So those seeds are being planted, and also letting your family know, hey, through your communication, that hey, today isn't a good day for me. I feel sick. The
Mm-hmm.
same way you would if you have a cold, you're
Exactly.
saying, I feel sick today.
Right.
And they're able to understand what that means,
Mm-hmm.
from an early age.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing I was thinking about when you mentioned, your daughter saw the mood board and she said, "Oh, you're depressed." I'm not sure what she thought at that moment, but another thing that I thought of is that I don't think for us as women of color, we or even other people know what depression looks like on us. So a lot of people in general, oh, that person, they look so happy and I would have never thought. And it's just easy to put on a mask, and go on about your day. And that's how I've been for probably all of my life. I have, since I was a kid, I just had this thing in my head where I never wanted my mom, of all people, to be worried about me, which was like kind of weird. But yeah, I just, if she asked me if something was wrong, even though she knew something was wrong, I would be like, oh no, I'm fine. It's okay. Forget about it, because I didn't know how to cope with whatever I was dealing with. So I would just push it away, push it down, and just be like, okay, that's gone. We're not going to deal with that. Happy thoughts. That's all. Everything's good. But again, like I said in the beginning, I literally can't do that anymore. And I've just had my breaking point where enough is enough. Um, and even acknowledging is something that is a work in progress, and consistency, of course. But again, we all go through it, and it's okay. It's okay to feel sad for whatever reason. It's okay to be in those feelings. You have to feel those feelings. So
And I think that's the key to all of this. It's like saying that it is okay.
yes.
You have to feel those feelings, because so many times people assume that you're okay because we're not allowing ourselves to completely feel those feelings. And if we are, it's when we're alone. And
Yeah.
then it feels too much, and we get that weight, and we're not able to speak about anything until that weight is so heavy that we cannot move.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because we go back to that S on the chest when it comes to
Yes.
women of color, and how we have to be these strong people all the time,
Yeah.
and how we have to always think we always have to think that things are right,
Mm-hmm.
um, or we're somehow failing.
Mm-hmm.
And Tarshell B says, I think it's because we saw our mother struggle. We didn't want to burden them any more than they were already dealing with. And I
Yep.
think, yep,
That hit the nail, Tarsha. Yes.
yeah, that did. And so it's like, hey, and and the key point of that with us being mothers now is that we continue, as we deal with our illnesses openly, and we're dealing with them from a healthier perspective, that we continue to open the door and allow our children to be children and not our caretakers.
Yes.
So, and I think a lot of people misunderstand when we talk to our children about mental health. We're not asking our children to take care of us. We want our children to be informed that I have an illness as well. Because if you're laying up with the flu
Mm-hmm.
and you're in the bed and you can't get up, it is nothing wrong with you asking your child to bring you a glass of orange juice.
Yes.
Same thing if you're laying up in the bed and you're physically exhausted because of your depression. It's nothing wrong with you asking your child to bring you a drink of water.
Absolutely.
And, because it's that thing about, you're not asking the child to be your caretaker.
Mm-hmm.
It's for that child to understand that there's a level of illness that you do have. But still in that, you allow your children to still be children,
Mm-hmm.
where your children are not managing the household in your steadfast. So we're
Mm-hmm.
not going to have the 4-year-old, trying to cook dinner,
Right.
trying to cook dinner. But that was something that a psychiatrist had told me early on, before I went to the hospital. He sat me down and he said, I want you to be very careful that you're not reversing the roles with your child, and you're still allowing your child to be a child.
Right.
And that was one of the instrumental roles for me. And even though it was painful, extremely painful for me to watch my child was growing up somewhere else, I knew that I was too ill. I knew that I was too ill for me to take care of her. and that she needed a childhood. And
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to give that to her.
Mm-hmm.
And it was painful for me because that meant a separation.
Right.
But she has memories that I would have been unable to give her. And I'm thankful that
Right.
she has those memories. And
Right.
now together we create memories. And I'm very honest, when I am tired,
Mm-hmm.
I tell her, like, mommy is tired today.
Mm-hmm.
Mommy can't do that today.
Mm-hmm.
But I say, how about we do it this other day? Or how about we do it in a different way? So that she can understand that when mommy is ill, that
Mm-hmm.
mommy can't do certain things sometimes, but we can do things in a different way.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so that level of communication, because mental health conditions are difficult for adults to understand sometimes.
Yeah.
So, when it comes to the kiddos, we have to be very mindful about how we present them to them
Mm-hmm.
and in a language that they understand. But,
Absolutely.
basically, and still let them know that, hey, you get to be a child here.
Mm-hmm.
You're not taking care of mommy.
Right.
You're not taking care of mommy. There's nothing wrong. Again, you need some water, you need orange juice.
Right.
Your baby is going to bring you, see about you because they're concerned about you. But we're
Absolutely.
not trying to reverse those roles in any way. Because our children become part of that driving force for us.
Yes.
When I was working on my wellness, focusing on getting to a point to where I could be in the same city with my daughter was a goal for me.
Mm-hmm.
you know and
Absolutely.
so but I think that whole thinking of wellness when we're when we're focusing on our children is all about that communication and
Yes.
being honest and open with them in their language,
Yes.
not adult language,
Right.
but in their language about what's going
Absolutely. Yeah. I definitely agree with that. And my my kids, I'm not saying it's just because I'm their mom, but they're pretty great. And they they're still kids. They definitely are that. Um but my husband also, he'll talk to them and say, well, mommy's not feeling well today. We're gonna give her a break, and let's just let mommy have her time. And that's something I have to learn how to be okay with too, because I have this problem where I feel like, and I'm sure you can relate, I have to do it. Like, no, I've got it. I can do it. I'm the mom, like you say, that's on the chest. Like, it's just something that I do. But then where it gets bad is I'm putting my needs last, where basically it's almost non-existent to care for them, because God forbid I can't get the cereal off of the refrigerator at that moment. They're gonna die. So no, it's not. They're fine. They really are. And I actually recently had an incident, not with my mental health, but my physical health, where I had been neglecting it for way too long. And as a result of it, I ended up in the ER. Um, and that was my wake up call also, that it's like, okay, Tracy, you're working on your mental health, but in addition to that, you really need to work on your physical health too, because if something physically happens to you, then what? Your kids are going to be really worse off. So just keeping that in the back of my mind, just saying, okay, Tracy, if you just stop for a second. You had a post a couple of days ago that said something about pausing, pressing the pause button. If you just pause, just give yourself 5 to 10 minutes, just pause for a second. Nothing bad is going to happen if you just pause. Think about what you're about to do. Think about, okay, what are the pros and cons of you not taking your medication in this moment for your blood pressure? What's going to happen if you don't do it? You may forget. You may go through the whole day without taking it, and then you risk the chance of your blood pressure going up. So take 2 seconds to just stop, take your medication, and then go deal with whatever the kids or your husband or whoever wants you, to do something. So it's all about mindfulness, intention, and just really slowing way, way, way down. So,
And I always like to tell people, it's like the best self-care instructions are always given by flight attendants. Put
yes,
your oxygen mask on
yes,
first before
yes,
you help somebody else. Like, if you want to know about self-care, take a flight.
yes. And it's
Take a
so
flight.
easy. It's
Take a
so
flight.
easy to do, but we don't do it. you
But
know?
you know what? But on that plane, we would.
Yes.
On that plane. But in real life, when it comes to self care, we will try to see about everyone else, and then because it's natural for us to be that caretaker, that to be that person that wants to have everything in control, and in order, because it's difficult for us sometimes to relinquish that.
Oh my gosh. You hit the
It's
nail on
it's
the head with that.
it's,
Yes.
it's, it's difficult for us sometimes to relinquish control, because
Mm-hmm.
if we relinquish control, will it get done right? Will we have to go back and do it? Will
Mm-hmm.
things go the way that they should? And so
Mm-hmm.
we want to hold on, because if we hold on to it, then we know it's going to get done. And if
Mm-hmm.
we hold on to it, we know we don't have to go back over it. And
Mm-hmm.
the thing is that sometimes, you know, we have to let go in order to hold on to ourselves.
Yes.
And if we don't learn how to do that, then we find ourselves in this empty space,
Mm-hmm.
and someone coming and decoming, and we can't pour out of an empty glass. And that's true.
Yeah.
And we'll take the pitcher, and we're thirsty, we're dehydrated, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll still fill up everybody else's cup.
Yes.
Because somehow filling up everybody else's cup is a bigger reflection on us than it is seen about ourselves first.
Yes. Yes.
So,
All
so
day.
we have to take that power move, when
Yeah.
we're always talking about these power moves, and we're always talking about Black girl magic, and we're always talking about moving forward. Sometimes that magic, that power, and that moving forward needs to start here.
Exactly.
It
Yeah.
needs to start with us.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, as we're continuing to talk about the things, Tracy, that you focus on throughout your life, what do you think are some things that have helped you along the way on your journey?
Yeah. So there was a time where I was seeing a therapist. Unfortunately, our insurance changed, so I can no longer see her. Well, I could, but I would have to pay out of pocket. But I am considering going back to her until I do find a therapist that is covered under my insurance that I'm happy with. But the therapy definitely helped. Um, Another thing was being honest with myself and really keeping it real. When you brought up the control and relinquishing that control, a couple of weeks ago, I was driving and I was thinking about God knows what, I don't know, but something was like, you know what, Tracy, you're a control freak. You need to just let it go, because whatever it is going to get done. And if it doesn't, then you have to learn how to be okay with that. It's not the biggest thing in the world, whatever it was I was worrying about at that moment. So just really having a conversation with myself and really just being honest about what I'm feeling. Um, Another thing that helped me or helps me is, and this is still a practice, a new practice, but practicing self-compassion. Um, we're our own worst critics. It's I'm terribly hard on myself. So learning how to practice grace with myself, knowing that I can start over at any time. I don't have to wait a day or two or a whole week to start over. I can start over at any moment. So just keeping that in the front of my head, just knowing that um, if I mess up, I can always just start over. Um, so I am not a fitness junkie. I hate the gym. I hate anything to do with exercise, but I have been trying to exercise. And when I do that, I feel so good because you're releasing those toxins. What is that? You're getting those endorphins um in your system. So while I don't like doing it in the moment, once I'm done exercising and working up a really good sweat, I feel so relaxed. And I'm the type of person, when I exercise, I have to do it in the evening because after I exercise, I get really, really tired. So then it helps me sleep better. Um, and I'm not as anxious going to bed. So that helps, but I gotta start that back up. But I'm gonna have some grace and just I'll start tomorrow, maybe. um, and again, my support system. So it's my support system consists of my husband, my mom, my kids to an extent, of course. I have a former coworker who's a friend. She in certain areas is definitely a really big support system that I have. And I watched you and Tarshel B's session, and I believe you guys talked about having um, a couple of people that you know you can depend on in the event that you may be in crisis or something like that. So those three are really my biggest support system, and they're the ones that I know I can talk to. My husband is the main one because I can really tell him everything, even the ugly stuff. I can tell him that, and he can he knows how to talk to me about those things. And same with my mom. I'm not quite as open with my mom from time to time, depending on how I think she may take things. But I definitely do talk to her, and I really appreciate her perspective on things just because she has a mental illness, so she can speak from that perspective. So those are my main people. And just really putting myself first, just stopping what I'm doing and just saying, Tracy, you have got to make sure you put your oxygen mask on first before you get out this bed in the morning and start trying to do stuff for the kids or what have you. So
Most definitely. And a couple of comments we have from Denise. It says, "Hello, Tracy. I am so glad you are reaching out and talking." And Tarshel B is saying, "Yes, yes, yes. Self compassion. Give yourself grace." So, most definitely, ladies, for sure. So, Tracy, and this is the part that I've been waiting on.
okay.
I found you
Yeah.
because I was on IG one night
Mm-hmm.
and I was looking at just looking at photos and looking at profiles, and I saw the name My Sister's Community. And I said, who? And I said, let me scroll and see who this is. And the first image was someone saying, hi, my name is Tracy. And I was like,
Oh.
oh, hey, Tracy. I was like, hey, how you doing? And so I reached out. So can you tell us about My Sister's Community and why you established that particular platform?
Yeah, absolutely. So, my sister's community, so let me backtrack a whole lot. So we're still in our infancy. We just started as an organization. I basically started it because I again know I'm not the only one who struggles with having good mental health. So I started it with that idea, and also because I wanted a platform, I wanted a community mainly targeted to women of color. It's not, if you're not a woman of color, it's not like, oh, you can't take anything from this. This is for everybody, really. But again, like I said, because I am a Black woman who has struggles with mental health, I figured why not. Um, and also, I have a few friends that I care for deeply, but I also feel that they are struggling with their mental health as well. And I didn't want to just touch upon these conversations here and there with them. I wanted something to bring us together and feel that they're supported and feel that, oh, maybe I could find out why people keep saying I have this attitude problem. Or I don't want to just dismiss other women who feel that they're not good enough or feel like, their relationships are suffering because someone feels that they're always negative all the time. I just wanted to bring us together so we can really learn how to look for the help that we need. So that's one of the reasons why I started my sisters community. So my goal for it is to have my first workshop, hopefully sometime in the summertime. And it's probably going to cover just mental health in general, and what we could do to just cope with those feelings that just are unhappy feelings, how we can cope with stress. Because one thing neither one of my parents told me is how not fun being an adult is. And then adding on just the mental stress, so that's something we really need to talk about too. But yeah, I really want us to talk about what mental illness or just mental health looks like on us. Um, because we have heard of the angry Black woman trope. We've heard of the strong Black one. I want to get away from that. I want us to have our time where we can be like, well, it's not any of that. I'm actually depressed. That's what it is. I'm actually feeling really, really anxious about this thing that's about to happen. That's why I'm acting the way that I am. It's not because I'm an angry Black woman who's scorned and this, that, and the third. So again, it's just a community for us to just come together, and just really talk about our feelings, and talk about how to find a therapist, talk about what we can expect from therapy, what we can get out of therapy if someone chooses to do so. So those are just little bits and pieces of what I do have planned for the organization. And it's so I live in Baltimore, Maryland. So it would mainly just consist of women getting together in the area and working on our mental health. So.
And Tracy, I live about an hour from you. I'm in the DMV.
Oh, okay. All right. So we're neighbors.
Hey, neighbor.
Hey, neighbor.
So I will attend your event. So let me know.
No, definitely. Yes.
So one thing I want to let everyone know, and Tarsha B is letting us know that she is glad that you started it, and she's in the community as well. And she said, we as Black women have to learn how to identify and express our emotions properly. That is so true. That is so true. And we also have to talk to society about this is how we express our emotions, and not allow society to dictate an image upon us of what an emotional Black woman looks like. We cannot accept those narratives of what we look like when we feel things. We have to create and push back and show what our narratives are every single day when it comes to our mental wellness and our emotional health.
Absolutely.
So we're going to wrap up soon, but I want to let everyone know that we have several platforms. Miss Tarshell B, who is one of our, who's is joining us on the chat tonight. Be sure to check her out on Instagram and YouTube. She was our contributor. She's one of the contributors with the platform that I'm the founder of, Healing Black Women. Be sure to follow us every day for today's conversation, where we are inspiring women, men, children, boys, and girls in all aspects of wellness. We focus on mental wellness, emotional wellness, physical wellness, life in general, as well as financial wellness. And also be sure to follow Tracy at My Sisters Community on Instagram. Tracy, are you on Facebook yet?
I am, and you can find my page on Facebook, My Sisters Community.
Okay.
So you can find me there as well.
Okay. So, Tracy, are there any closing words that you would have for us? And while we are letting Tracy have her closing words, is there any? Yes, Tarshell's in Memphis, my former home. Are there? If there's any questions from the audience, we will take those now. If not, Tracy, could you give us some closing words?
Sure. Yes. So I just want anyone who watches this, hears this, sees this, to just start taking ownership of yourself, physically, emotionally, mentally. We have to do it. It's the stress out here will kill you, seriously. And it's just not worth it at all. It's not worth it for yourself. It's not worth it for your family, your friends. We have to talk and have these conversations just to get towards healing. And it's okay. It's going to be hard, at least for me, it is at first, but just know there is support out there anywhere you look, not just here, but everywhere at your fingertips. So just be well, practice grace with yourself, and just let's do this. We're in it together.
And most definitely, we are in this together. And I will say in closing words, just know that everyone is at a different phase of healing and recovery when it comes to your mental wellness. And so you can always find someone there who can connect with you and have a level of understanding for what you're going through. So, Tracy, again, I would like to thank you so much for joining us this evening. I have had a blast talking with you. I will most definitely have to get up to Baltimore.
Yeah.
When we when we have a chance to connect and you have an event, I will be keeping a watchful eye for you.
Absolutely.
If you are looking for Tracy, I will have the links to her social media sites in the description box. Thank you guys for joining us, and you have a great evening. And keep out for a look for next week on Thursday, April the 18th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, where we will have another special guest on the Livestream Wellness Series at Laqwanda's Heart. Bye, you guys.
Bye.